Okay, so for this food science exam, I'm going to be making pancakes. I chose a recipe instead of making my own, and it calls for 1.5 cups of flour, 3.5 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of sugar, 3 tablespoons of melted butter, 1 egg, and 1 1/4 cup milk, and then some cooking spray. I chose to do 4 different batters, so I also substituted in baking soda and buttermilk. So baking soda for the baking powder and buttermilk for the milk in 2 of the batters. But I'll get to that later on. This recipe chose to use the baking powder because it used milk with it. And obviously you want your pancakes to be fluffy, so the baking powder is sodium bicarbonate and cream of tartar and starch, which means it has its basic and acidic ingredient in it already. So the milk was just used as the moisture to activate that. When that was activated, it started its chemical reaction, and then the carbon dioxide bubbles accumulated, and then when you put it on the heat, that's what made it fluffy. So this recipe could use baking powder and milk successfully. When using baking soda, you must mix it with another ingredient that is acidic, because baking soda is only sodium bicarbonate. So, for example, in this recipe, if you wanted to be able to use baking soda, you would need to add buttermilk instead of the milk, because buttermilk is an acidic agent. Or you could add like yogurt or something else similar to that that's acidic. So these two, since one's a basic and one's an acidic, and when you combine them together, it allows the chemical reaction to occur, producing the carbon dioxide bubbles, and then allowing them to expand in the warm environment, and then leading to the fluffy pancakes. So, to compare what I've just explained, I've prepared the 4 batters over here, and I've labeled them 1, 2, 3, and 4. Batter number 1 is the original, so it has the baking powder and the milk in it, and that's what the batter looks like. Batter number 2 has the baking soda and the buttermilk instead of the milk. So that's what that one looks like. It's a little bit fluffier and a little bit thicker, more like a cake batter than a pancake batter. Showing that baking soda has reacted with the buttermilk. Batter number 3 is this one, and that one does not have the baking powder in it, so there's no leavening agent in this one. But the milk is still in there. It looks pretty similar to the first one. And then batter number 4 has the baking soda and then milk. So there's no acidic agent in this one for it to rise at all. So that's why it's very thin. So here are my pancake examples for each one. So this is pancake batter number 1. This is the one that had the baking powder and the milk. So this one turned out pretty well, just as I expected. It looks like a normal pancake. It's pretty thick, and then when we rip it apart, it's fluffy in the middle. So all in all, you can see that the air bubbles are in there, that the carbon dioxide was produced by that reaction. So all in all, that's a good pancake. This is the second one, the one with the baking soda and the buttermilk. So that one should have also had a reaction which caused it to be fluffy also. And this pancake looks pretty fluffy. It feels a little bit denser than the first one. So my ratios could have been off a little bit maybe. But it actually looks like a good pancake too, which is what I expected. So then we move on to the third one. Light. And this one, the pancake didn't brown at all. I was not expecting that to happen, but it did. It is very dense. I can't squish it at all. It did not rise at all. So clearly there was no carbon dioxide reaction in this one, since there was no leavening agent, because this is the one that did not have the baking soda or the baking powder. And then this last one is number 4, so it's the one that had the baking soda and the milk, not buttermilk. So there was no acidic agent in this one. And when we were cooking this pancake, it browned very fast. So it's not cooked all the way in the middle, which I was not really expecting that either. It definitely feels denser than number 1 and number 2. And it still looks like some sort of chemical reaction occurred in there, because there's air bubbles and it did raise more than this one did. So maybe the baking soda reacted with something. But overall, I pretty much got what I expected to see out of all the pancakes. Batter number 1 and number 2 both rose, because they both had an acidic and a basic agent in them. So that worked out for me. And then number 3 and number 4 did a couple things that I didn't expect, like darken and then not darken at all and not raise at all. At all. It feels like a hockey puck. So overall, everything that I thought was going to happen did happen, and this experiment was a success.